Mr. Mayor, honorable council members, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all that you give this community, blessing us with fine farmland, rangeland, and a place to build a community for our families. We ask you to send your spirit to attend your servants who enforce the rule, serve the sick, keep the store, teach the young, who labor at their craft and minister with your word. Preserve this community from recession and depression, epidemic and contagion, misrule and disharmony, drought and flood, fire and holocaust. Help all citizens to work for a common good through useful invention, salutary regulation, helpful occupation, wholesome recreation, good manufacturing, and meaningful education. Give them the grace to obey and trust your word through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, if I get a roll call. Here. All right. If I can move on to, we have a quorum. If I can move on to item 4, consideration of the approval of the agenda. Councilmember Lambert.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion for approval of the agenda.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember Jones.
I'll second that.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Let's move on to item 5, public forum. Members of the public may address city council members on any item of public interest that's within the jurisdiction of the city council, includes agenda and non-agenda items. No action will be taken on non-agenda items. Speakers are limited to a 5-minute presentation, and detailed guidelines are posted at the council chambers in the back in the information table. This time, I'd like to invite the public to come forward and speak, and just a reminder to silence or turn off your phones.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. Kriston Santos here to represent the Office of Congressman John Duarte. First off, I'd like to congratulate the Los Banos Chamber of Commerce for yet another successful tomato festival this year. And speaking of our tomato industry, which is so vital here in the Los Banos region, Congressman Duarte is also taking the opportunity in Washington, D.C. to stand up for America's food supply. Congressman Duarte is proud to join a bipartisan coalition reintroducing H.R. 4319, also known as the Farm Workforce Modernization Act, which is a bill updating the H-2A Agricultural Guest Worker Program. The Farm Workforce Modernization Act helps our valley by protecting our workforce, ensuring the future of our farms, and bringing working families, many of whom have been working on valley farms for 5, 10, 15 years or more, out of the shadows. This bill is negotiated with input from farmers, agricultural stakeholders, labor organizations, and farm worker advocates. The Farm Workforce Modernization Act reforms the H-2A program to provide more flexibility for employers while ensuring critical protection for our workers. It establishes a program for agricultural workers in the United States to choose to earn legal status through continued agricultural employment and contribution to the U.S. agricultural economy. And it focuses on modifications to make the H-2A program more responsive and user-friendly for employers, and provides access to the H-2A program for industries that have year-round labor needs. Earlier this week in Washington, D.C., Congressman Duarte also participated in a press conference announcing he was a co-sponsor of the H-2 Improvements to Relieve Employers Act, also known as the HIRE Act. H-2A and H-2B workers are the foundation of America's food supply. Their hard work puts groceries on our tables, it builds our infrastructure, and it protects our national security. Despite the massive benefits of the H-2 visa program in the Valley, the current system is confusing, complex, and it hurts working families, small businesses, and rural employers here in the Central Valley. The HIRE Act would solve these problems by cutting red tape and simplifying our temporary work visa program. By expanding the labor certification period to 3 years, simplifying requirements for returning workers, and increasing job transparency, we can create a reliable legal system that would both curb unauthorized immigration and bring working families out of the shadows. We have a responsibility to improve our temporary visa programs, fix our workforce gap, and rebuild our broken immigration system. And Congressman's proud to join his colleagues in introducing this essential piece of legislation. Agriculture is the lifeblood of Merced County, the West Side, and the whole Central Valley. And from the Dignity Act to the American Dream and Promise Act, the Farm Workforce Modernization Act, and now the HIRE Act, Congressman Duarte is committed to pursuing legislation that provides practical, dignified solutions for farm workers, farm families, and dreamers alike. He's also proud to have voted with both his Democrat and Republican colleagues in favor of the fiscal year 2024 NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, because far too many active service members and veterans here in the Valley live on the edge of poverty, and this bill is an important step in getting them the compensation and benefits they've so rightfully earned. This year's NDAA includes the largest pay raise for our troops in over 20 years. It improves service member health care, and it cracks down on the waste and abuse of American taxpayer dollars. Not only does this bill save billions of taxpayer dollars, it protects the benefits of our military members while also expanding our national defense capabilities. And earlier this afternoon, our office participated in a meeting with the Merced County Farm Bureau, UC Davis, and other pest control stakeholders on the extreme difficulties many of our Los Banos and Dos Palos region cotton growers, as well as cotton growers up and down the valley, have been facing due to a severe lygus bug infestation this season. And our office would like to reaffirm that we always stand ready to assist farmers in any way we can when it comes to federal regulatory agencies, and we look forward to investigating possible solutions to this infestation, whether it be through new treatments or other policies, during our work on the subcommittee on conservation research and biotech on the Ag Committee, or the Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries subcommittee on natural resources, which does oversee the Endangered Species Act, which is highly relevant to this conversation. So I'd like to thank you for your time to give this update.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. I'm Rhonda Lowe, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the Small Business Development Center. I wanted to remind you and to also announce to those that don't know that on July 29th, we will be having our first live in-person workshop for startups to help people that have a dream of starting their business to do that with our help. It'll be at the community center from 10 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. So on a Saturday, it gives people that do work out of town the opportunity to come. It gives me something to do on a Saturday morning, apparently, that I wouldn't know what to do otherwise. I'm really excited that we're bringing these back live. I've spent a lot of time doing workshops on Zoom, and it's really nice to have that opportunity to meet people in person. Our workshops are all at no cost to the community, to anybody that wants to come. It's our tax money at work. Thankfully, funding through SBA is what provides this opportunity. We'll really cover three basic things during that hour and a half. We're going to help them really test the feasibility of their idea to make sure that it's got a chance to make it. It's tough to start a business anyway. Then we're going to have them actually create a one-page business plan, and that'll get them started. And then finally, we will give them the next steps of what it takes to start and do business in Los Banos. I sent each of you an email with the flyer that has all the contact information. So if you hear of anybody that's interested, we would love to have them come out. We're already getting signups, and I'm really excited about that. I think there was 11 the last time I looked. So that's a really good thing, and because we really know that infusion of new business is really what keeps our community vibrant and alive. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm here about the homeless situation, and I want to start out on a positive note and say thank you for the rail trail. You put up a new barrier that's yellow on the west side. I appreciate that. There was that fire to the building that I warned you about that Twitch was starting fires on that burned to the ground. And I found this on your Facebook. And I was wondering if this is something that you're still going to do, because I thought it was a good idea. I was wondering if that's still in the works. Is it? I have noticed that there's less auto traffic now that that barrier is up, and I thank you for that. So that's basically my question is that how far into this plan that you have are you? I'm just curious.
I can answer it. I'm 7 months because I'm only 7 months on the job.
I know.
Yes.
But you ran
Yes.
on it, so I'm just wondering, I'm just curious.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, how many people do you need to help you with that?
Well, and again, it's not for a dialogue discussion here, but I can assure you the speed of government. I don't know of major projects that get completed in 7 months with,
No, you can't
With that.
complete it, but I mean, if you need help, what do you do? I mean, where do you put that out at to where people from the community could possibly help with that? Where do people from the community go to help you with that?
yeah, there is a plan and a strategy, yes.
Okay.
I just got to I can't put the cart before the horse. So,
Okay, well, I just wanted to know. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Cami Avalar, 1810 Pitzer Way, and I want to talk about the homeless and another subject, actually. But I know you guys did a cleanup, which was nice. A week later, it looked the same. It's still the same problems. There's continuous noise. I actually got, I hope you can hear it, got woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning by this lovely lady screaming at the top of her lungs. I get up at 4. So, there she is. And she did this long enough for me to tape her, get up, get my phone, and then tape her. It is it's affecting me personally, just because I don't sleep well anymore because of the noise. I actually fell asleep driving to work the other day on that 2-lane and almost went over the median and had a head-on. It's a problem, and it's a problem that's now affecting me personally and my health. And you guys need to address this, not just clean it up. Most of these people are drug addicts. They're awake all night long. There has to be another solution rather than we're just going to leave them there until we get a hotel somewhere, or the hotel gets finished or whatever. But it's not fair to our neighborhood. No one else has to deal with this, and you can sympathize all you like, but you're not the one who has them behind you. So there has to be another solution, and I'm sure there is. If you need, like Mary was saying, if you guys need help with something, we're quite willing to help instead of coming here every other Wednesday to complain about the homeless. The other question I had, I see on the agenda that you're going to put a stoplight up at Scripps and Mercy Springs. While you're working on that, and that's great because that crosswalk is dangerous for those kids to cross, but while you're doing that, it would be nice if you would address the closure at De Anza just a block and a half further down, and maybe you could do both at the same time by putting in that turn lane and making De Anza safe so you could reopen it. Right now, because of that, because there's no answer, or there isn't an agreement on who's going to pay for that. There's no sidewalk still along Mercy Springs for any of those kids that are in Shaughnessy Village to be able to walk down to that stoplight or the path as it is. So until that's resolved, it's dangerous having those kids walk down that dirt road right along Mercy Springs. So it would be helpful if you could address that too at the same time. Thank you.
thank you.
Hi, I'm here also regarding the homeless. I don't want to come here and grumble before you, but that's all you're going to get because it's an ongoing issue. I can't even recall what I addressed the last time I was here, but I will tell you that my husband had someone arrested who was on our property. He was trespassing. It was after 9 o'clock at night. I'm sure I'll eventually get the police report, but I don't know what good it's going to do. There was a scuffle. He called the police. They came, they arrested the person. Our house is pretty secure. The guy came out of our side, the left side of our home where all our bedrooms are. There's no way I don't know how he got back there. I don't know if he jumped Caltrans. I have no clue. All I know is that the following day, they found his cap and they found a knife. I don't know what he was planning to do. I don't care. But they're trespassing and our safety's in jeopardy. So the citizens, they're not even, some of those people are homeless and they're legitimately homeless, but the majority of those people, they're either mentally unstable, they're drug addicts, and they don't care and they have no regard or respect for the citizens. And now, they're jeopardizing our safety. It's become a safety concern. It's no longer just, feel sorry for them, give them money, do whatever. That's not working. You have the guys that are back there, the people that are back there, including women, they're retaliating against each other. They're burning each other's tents. I called 911. I don't know if I addressed this the last time, but I got hung up on. The guy wanted me to go back there and check. I recorded the fire. And then you've got, the fire department consistently going out there. How much is that costing the citizens of Los Banos? And those people don't care because you're not dealing with just homeless people. You're dealing with lawless people that don't care. You have women that are, I'm assuming they're trying to fix their drug problem and they're prostituting themselves. They're out there on the corner soliciting people walking up and down the sidewalks. That's unacceptable. And I'm sure the police department is aware of it, and there is traffic. There are vehicles still back there. You have people riding motorcycles, and there's a white van that's over there all the time. I'm assuming they're stealing people's garbage cans because I see garbage cans back there. And Christine, I think that's her name, she said that they're not supplying. That Mid-Valley Disposal does not supply garbage cans. I had 2 of my garbage cans stolen, and I realized, it was the homeless people that took them. Now, it doesn't cost me anything, but it's an inconvenience. And we're not inconveniencing them. You've got drugs going on back there. There's defecation. It's disgusting and it's scary and it's a threat to a lot of citizens. Now, there's a difference between enabling them and helping them. And I'm not going to enable them. And I would hope that the other concerned citizens know the difference and don't enable them because they're not homeless. They choose to live. That's their lifestyle. And there's a lot of drug stuff going back there, and they are continuously lighting fires. It's deliberate. It's not, by accident. So I just, Mayor, I respect the council. I really do. And we voted for you. You've been here 7 months, and if you could at least just address the citizens and let them know, hey, look, we've listened to your concerns. This is what we're trying to do, but we're not getting anything. So we don't know. And the frustration is beginning to build. And now there's safety, issues that are coming up. I mean, I don't know what his intent was. All I know is that I have, a 26-year-old granddaughter that lives with me with her 2.5-year-old son. What if that guy got in through the window? I have no clue what his intent was. And if he's on drugs, what are they trying to do? They're trespassing. They're on my property. Our safety is in jeopardy. It goes way beyond, they're homeless and they're on federal land. I don't even know how that works. I don't even know if they have the right to be on federal land. I mean, I keep hearing that, it's a public whatever and they can be anywhere they want. Well, we have rights too, So, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bitch, but it's getting old and it's getting scarier and scarier every week. Thank you.
So I don't want it to turn into a dialogue again. This is the public forum, but just to answer the question posed is what can the community do? And I'll be very honest. Don't vote for meth to be a misdemeanor. Don't vote for burglary to be a misdemeanor. Don't vote for serious crimes that used to put people in prison to now be a citation, because that's what the voters in the state of California did in 2016. So when a police officer finds somebody with a bag of meth in their pocket, they write them a ticket. When they find them with a knife, they write them a ticket. When they break in your house, they write them a ticket. Because that's what the voters of the state of California told our law enforcement they have to do. Well, and that's a dialogue thing, but again, just to kind of just give you my asking for help and giving you my honest answer. But anyway, I'm sorry, continue.
Mayor and council members. I'm here also for the homeless issues. I'm not even going to address what, they've addressed, because all that is happening also in front of my house. Now, the only difference here is that they are in front of my house. They're not in back of my house. They're in front of my house, okay? Last time I addressed some of the stuff that was going on. Today, I'm just going to go into what I have written because I know I only have 5 minutes. Mayor Yanes, I have emailed you 3 times. I've left messages at City Hall, and I have not heard from you at all. I voted for you. And when you were running for mayor, I voted for you because I was hoping that you would keep your word of all the promises you made about how you were going to work towards the homeless problem here in Los Banos. When you and the city council voted to close the home encampment, why was there not a plan made of how the city was going to handle all those homeless people being dispersed throughout Los Banos? The homeless people that were on the rail trail by the courthouse and the new police department were told to move from there because of the fair. And I don't understand why they were told that, since the fair is on 4th Street. Okay, but I've been talking to the homeless people, and they told me they were told to move from there. Okay, the fair didn't go all the way down there. Anyways, like I said before, I live right in front of the rail trail on a residential area. Talking to some of the homeless people that are staying there, told me that they were told that they can make encampments on the rail trail near 2nd Street, which is the beginning of the rail trail, which is a residential area. I would like to ask, why are the homeless not given any porta potties or portable washing stations if they were sent to a residential area where there are children, seniors? I mean, that rail trail is used by a lot of children. Thank you for sending code enforcement and the city to clean up, okay, all the garbage and furniture that they constantly are bringing in. Code enforcement came to my house, and they asked me to remove my couch that I paid almost $3,000 that I had to put out there when I had my car accident, and I couldn't use it because I couldn't, my legs, I couldn't push it. So I decided to put it on my front porch. And code enforcement came and told me that I had to remove it, almost a brand new couch that actually matched my house. And they told me that I had to remove it because it made the neighborhood look yucky, okay? That I had to remove it, and I said, why? I mean, it looks nice, actually. Well, you can't have any furniture from inside the house out on your patio. And I am a law-abiding citizen, and I went ahead and had to get rid of it. And they are allowed to bring couches and I don't know what else out there. Now, another point that I want to make, thank you for cleaning all that up, but that's not taking care of the defecation and the urination problem, okay? And I would like to read to you about the public health hazard and unsafety and what impacts it has, the defecation in open fields and trails. Of course, I'm not going to read to you all of this. So I just picked the most important thing. This is an article by BMC Public Health on impacts of defecation. This is associated with human excrement linked to infectious diseases. Infected human excreta contain several harmful organisms that are associated with a number of health problems. Virtually 1 gram of infected human excreta can contain a variety of microbes, which include 106 pathogenic viruses and infectious variants, 106 to 108 bacterial pathogens, 103 protozoan cysts, and 10 to 104 helminth eggs. Inappropriate human waste disposal also increases the risk of, I'm sorry? exposure to these pathogens, which can pose significant health risks such as transferable infectious diseases, diarrhea, typhoid, cholera, and viral infections. Reports show that 1.8 million in low and middle income countries suffer from severe trichoma, a root caused by visual impairment, which is transmitted via flies that breed on human excreta with a tendency to spread through eye discharge or infected persons. Also, more than 200 million people. Okay, I'm going to stop there. So I just want to say, okay, this is in a residential area. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
At the last city council meeting, I requested a report on the success of the Small Business Assistance Program. I see that it is not included in tonight's agenda. In December, it was stated that this report would be made in 6 to 7 months to determine the success of the program. It has now been over 7 months. Last meeting, I discussed ineligible nonprofits receiving grants and businesses not being treated equally based on the published guidelines. But due to the 5-minute time restriction, I couldn't include all the discrepancies with this program, so I'll continue tonight. At the December 7th meeting, it was stated that the Small Business Assistance Program was supposed to have approximately $800,000 allocated to it. That $800,000 was supposed to come from $550,000 that the city was already holding, plus an additional $250,000 the city was supposed to receive as a refund from the RAD card. It appears that the Small Business Assistance Program ran out of funds after approximately $400,000 of grants were awarded, leaving upwards of $400,000 unaccounted for. Even if no refund was received from the RAD card, the program is still short $150,000 based on the funds that were already being held by the city. My requests for clarification from the Community and Economic Development Department overseeing this program have been ignored, and now for tonight's meeting, written comments will not be read aloud. I'm asking the City Council to speak up for the businesses in Los Banos that appear to be experiencing discrimination, and ask the Community and Economic Development Department for a report at the next meeting that includes an explanation of the scoring system used for the Small Business Assistance Program, the scores that each business received, the amount of each individual grant award, the date of initial application submission, the date a determination was made, and the date the check was written. Because there appears to be upwards of $400,000 unaccounted for, this report should also include the amount of the refund received from the RAD card, as well as an accounting of the $150,000 the city was already holding that was supposed to be used for this program. And the only thing I'm going to add on the homeless situation is I did have a homeless man take a nice long sleep at my business Friday night. They cut the barbed wire, jumped over the fence, slept in our backyard. But I'm not concerned about that. My safety's not in jeopardy. But I'm just going to say that my kids will be safe when they show up at my gym. But all $9.8 million that the city received for ARPA can be spent to solve the homeless problem. So it's not a funding problem that we have with the homeless issue.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, council and staff. Maribel Garcia speaking on behalf of the Los Banos Downtown Association. So the 4th of July celebration was a huge success, and we want to thank the City of Los Banos for their partnership in this event. Without the city's help, this event could not have taken place. We would also like to thank our top sponsors, Morningstar, Young's Air Conditioning, Sutter Health, Mid-Valley Disposal, and Jams at 209. A special thank you for everyone that showed up and all our volunteers for helping with the firework booth and the event. Our next event is our annual Farm to Table. So, date September 21st and location Henry Miller Plaza. It will be 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Tickets will be sold at the Downtown Association, and tickets are $85 per person. We will be having music, dinner, and an auction. Donations are needed. We will also be celebrating the Farmer of the Year. So you can download an application for the Farmer of the Year on our website, www.downtownlosbanas.com. You can also pick one up at our office at 907 6th Street. Deadline is July 29th. So we also like to provide scholarships for the FFA High School seniors, Pacheco High School and Los Banos High School. And the sponsors for Farm to Table are David Santos Farming, Morning Star, Young's Air Conditioning, Sutter Health, Jams at 209, A-Bar, R-Pack, and Mechanics Bank. So our vision is promoting, improving, and preserving downtown as the heart of Los Banas. So thank you for your time and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Steve Aldama. I'm a business owner here in town, and I do acknowledge the, excuse me, the homeless crisis is a concern of everybody. And I just wanted to reiterate on what the fellow was saying about the city receiving $9 million to handle the homeless crisis. According to the state of California, $17.5 billion has been allocated to combat homelessness. That's a lot of money. We would like to know, where is that $17.5 billion going? I'm still waiting for reports from Sacramento to tell me how they allocated that money, to how much went to the 52 counties of California. Upon that, they will tell me Merced County received so much money. Okay. Upon that, how much of that was allocated to every city in Merced County, us being one of them. So my concern is to let everyone know here that the state has already put $17.5 billion to combat homelessness. And that's a very interesting word they use, to combat. Will it be combated in 6 months, in 1 year, in 12 months, in 3 years? Is the problem still going to exist? And if so, where did the money go to combat homelessness? So it's very concerning how they use these terms to say, don't worry, the money's going out there. Okay, and we have the right to know where it's going. And discovering $9 million already has been sent to the city alone, not a whole lot of changes have been made. And there's a lot of communities that are suffering from it. Where my business is located is a semi-decent location. However, every now and then there is a homeless encampment out there that every now and then I have to call the police to say, hey, they're disturbing. And I hate doing that because they're human beings. You want to say, okay, well, I'm sorry you're staying here, but it kind of dents business, right? So anyways, I just wanted to say and let the people know that $17.5 billion has been distributed from the state of California to combat homelessness. So where is that $17.5 billion going? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, hi. My name is Blanche George, and I live in the downtown area. I did go to the Planning Commission meeting the other day and wanted to mention this to the council. While there was some sad news about some of the businesses, 2 of them, closing down in the downtown area, I see also the upside, which is a positive side about what kind of businesses can come in. Maybe in the drugstore, antique store. maybe at the old gun shop, it might be, again, a coffee/wine bar. So there's wonderful opportunities for the downtown area that I see an upside for. But specifically, I want to divert to Section E on the agenda and Section G. I believe that, personally speaking, they kind of like coincide together as a team. I appreciate everybody working in order to get the 165 Vineyard extension extended. I know how hard it is to get things accomplished, and to see this going forward is really sweet. I have a client that I walk from the Vineyard area to the sports complex, and it's wonderful that there's going to be a channel going through there, however it's going to be designed. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for your guys' hard work. As far as the sports complex and everything that you are doing, I think that that really benefits the park, and especially the dog park, that's out there. So thank you so much for all your guys' hard work. I see the parks being so much improved and so much being worked on, and all the different projects that you guys are working on. And I do, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate all that you guys are doing. We can't wave a wand and change things, but I'm so glad that you guys are working hard, and especially even your employees working so hard. I see them out there painting things at the basketball areas, cleaning up. Ronnie's cleaning up, the tree trimming, everything that's going on. The biggest, most beautiful Parks and Recs booklet for children to be busy. That's one of the biggest books that's coming out. And when children are busy, minds and bodies, it's much more better for the community. I would like to ask, get out of protocol and ask if there are individuals that get an invitation for a park reopening or a project that has been improved, if we could go out and support our city, and especially support the employees that have been working hard on all these projects. It's one thing for them to work on this project, and I know that they're getting paid, but they're also putting their heart, soul, and sweat in when it's really hot. And to only have just a few people of the community show up, I don't know, personally speaking, I'd be a little bit down about that. So if we could really support our employees, and I'm not talking about you all, and I know I'm out of protocol, but just the residents can come out and support those reopenings. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Seeing none. Do we have any additional write-in? Okay. All right. So at this time, we will close the public forum. And let's move into item 6, consideration of approval of the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and be voted on in one motion unless removed from the agenda by a city council member. And if I could have you go through them.
Items on the consent agenda are as follows. Warrants number 239561 through 239963 in the amount of $2,805,229.35. Minutes for the June 7th, 2023 City Council meeting. Minutes for the June 21st, 2023 City Council meeting. Minutes for the July 5th, 2023 City Council meeting. City Council Resolution Number 6665, authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement between the City of Los Banos and Mark Thomas and Company, Inc. for the engineering design services for State Route 165 Vineyard Drive intersection and adopting a revised budget for the fiscal year 2023-24 as it pertains to Lamoglia Fund in the amount of $164,027. City Council Resolution Number 6666, authorizing the Public Works Director, City Engineer, to execute a change order number 1 to the contract agreement for the exterior painting of 4 city-owned buildings to Pro Group Painting for the stucco work at City Hall and Police Annex, and to increase the project contingency to $87,454. City Council Resolution Number 6667, accepting the Sports Complex restroom and concession building project as complete and authorizing the filing of a notice of completion with the Merced County Recorder. City Council Resolution Number 6668, accepting public improvements for South Point at Regency Park Phase 8, Stonefield Home, Inc. City Council Resolution Number 6669, accepting public improvements for South Point at Regency Park Phase 9, Stonefield Home, Inc. City Council Resolution Number 6670, award of construction contract to St. Francis Electric LLC in the amount of $495,000 with a 10% contingency in the amount of $49,500 for SR 152 signal synchronization, federal aid project number CML 5160028. City Council Resolution Number 6671, authorizing management and mid-management employees and the Los Banos Police Sergeants Association to participate in the California State Disability Insurance Program at their own expense. And the items are to be approved as submitted.
All right, thank you for that. Do I have any items of consideration for discussion? Councilmember Lewis.
Thank you. I'd like to pull item F for discussion and a separate vote.
F.
F as in Frank, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, so let's do item F.
Questions to the Public Works Director. After reviewing this report, there are some application processes that are explained on here that this paint pro group is planning to do to our City Hall on page 84. So could you explain why we have to go through these multiple steps just to paint this building? I realize that there at the northeast corner there was a little bit of damage there, probably because somebody drove by and hit the corner. We have balusters there now. But overall, in looking at this particular building, it needs obviously a good pressure wash, but this process that's going to be used has been described as having 10 times the lifespan of paint finish. Well, to me, that's relative because I had my house painted in '98 and it's still in good condition because if you use quality paint, it's going to last. So 10 times, 10 times what? I'm finding it hard to justify to spend this kind of money with these different levels of processes to give a smooth coat finish to the City Hall and other things that are going to be done, rather than to do the repairs on the building, which are minimal, and then just do a good paint job on it, which could probably save the city quite a bit of money. So if you can explain to me why these processes are necessary, I'd like to hear that.
No, Councilmember Lewis, thank you for asking that. So this is an upgrade from a paint life. So typically when we do paint a building, especially when it comes to building that is exposed a lot to the suns, there is a lot of fadings and stuff like that, especially at a location where we have trims and stuff like that, like our building windows and stuff, as you can see from the outside, the blue paint and trim like that with the caulking and stuff like that. Those do not have a long lifespans. Typically, they're about 5 to 7 years or so. They need to be replaced or repaired. City Hall, unfortunately, has been being left untouched for many years, closer to in a decade's time. So what we thought, or management thought at this time, is to actually do an upgrades to the buildings. That adds to enhance the looks rather than just putting the paint on, slap a coat of paint on it. In this case, is to actually upgrade the look to a smooth stucco to prevent future buildup. Because what we have noticed on a texture building, a lot of times you do have a lot of dust and dirt build up. And in this case, we did when we wash the police annex, unfortunately, with some of the textures, those buildup that does not come off very easily. Some of them has to be removed by hand. For City Hall, so to prevent that in the future, we are proposing a smooth stucco. And this smooth stucco is not just a gray product that go on top. It's going to have integral colors that go on them. That's what's added the additional cost, and those does not need to be painted over.
Well, as one person on this council, I still feel that's excessive. And certainly, we can employ our staff to power wash the building occasionally to get the dirt off. But even if you put a smooth stucco coat on there, it's not going to solve the problem, because that has a tendency to crack in time, and then you're having to deal with another process of repairing. It's just my opinion that I think repairing the areas that are damaged and putting a good quality paint on our building would suffice. And we don't need to go through these extra steps of smooth coat to give it color texture and cost the citizens additional funding. Now, the tiles on the police annex building, there's going to be an application applied. I assume that the tiles that are missing are going to be replaced in size. But the application that's going to be applied to those tiles, what is the lifespan of that application?
Actually, those tiles are not getting replaced. Unfortunately, we are unable to find any more of those tiles that would match.
And I figured you're just going to put a tile of a size up there. There's going to be a different application applied to those tiles, as I understand it, unless I'm not understanding this properly.
No, the tile actually have come down completely. It will have the same kind of integral color stucco finish on that. So it's going to be replaced.
So the tiles are coming down altogether,
That's
and it's
correct.
just going to be a finish put where the tiles were.
Yeah, to match the current finish now.
Okay. Well, again, I thank you for your input. Again, I just want the citizens to know that are here tonight and those that are watching by television. I think this is an excessive amount of money that's being spent for a building that requires painting and some repair work. Yes, everybody knows that when you have a home, especially here in the valley, the fading process takes place, especially if you paint it dark colors. Your building is going to fade out much quicker. But I think we are looking at going over and above what we need to do here at City Hall in painting this building. We need to do the repairs, in my opinion, give a good quality paint, and save some dollars for things that we need to do in our city other than putting it in the paint job on this building. And that's my perspective, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, any other comments before we vote on just that item? Okay. Do I have a motion to, again, we're just doing F. Do I have a motion regarding item F? Councilmember Jones.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve City Council Resolution Number 6666 as submitted.
Thank you. And second, Councilmember Lambert?
Now second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay. Item passes 3-1. All right, and then the remaining consent agenda. Councilmember Jones.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Thank you. And second, Councilmember Lambert. All right, all those in favor of the remaining?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 7, public hearing. If you challenge the proposed action as described herein, court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing described herein, or written correspondence delivered to the city at or prior to the public hearing. So we'll go to item 7A. For this is Community and Economic Development Director Susan Elms.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. This particular item is a closeout report for the 2018 CDBG, which stands for Community Development Block Grant, grant number 12913. Some background on this particular item: CDBG program authorizes the use of funds to assist low and moderate income families or aid in the prevention or elimination of slums or blight. The funding is allocated to the state from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. It's administered by the State Department of Housing and Community Development, which is HCD. In order to be eligible for this funding, there needs to be national objectives that are met. There's 3 objectives. The first is that it benefits low-income persons and households, that it eliminates slum and blight, or that there's an urgent need. And then this urgent need would need to be handled in real time. And that's only for specific cases like earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes. In 2018, the CDBG funding that was awarded to the city was awarded in 2018, and that was for the amount of $500,000. The funded contract code enforcement officer was what this program funded. It was to be utilized in a designated low and moderate income area, which it was, and I have a slide to show where that area was located. And it did meet the national objective of benefiting low-income persons and households, as it was restricted to an area of only low to moderate income census tract. So this is the area that the CDBG code enforcement funding was applied to. This area is bound by Pacheco Boulevard, Badger Flat, Ingomar and H Street to Wilmot, and Mercy Springs Road. There we go. So as a requirement by HCD, a closeout report is required. So in summary, we're required to provide quarterly performance reports in order to receive reimbursement. And then we have this closeout report, which we're providing for you tonight to summarize all the grant activities, and it requires a public hearing prior to submittal to HCD. So in summary, the grant has been active since August 2020. The city expended $465,116 under a professional service agreement with CSG Consultants. That also covered city staff time as a part of the grant activity, code enforcement activity. The city did receive reimbursement in the amount of $34,884 for general administration of the grant. So the total grant award was $500,000. The accomplishments under this grant: it assisted in over 4,000 code enforcement violation investigations, which addressed issues such as overgrown weeds, substantial home disrepairs, abandoned vehicles, illegal structures, attractive nuisances. It also helped with homeless encampments within that census tract. These are just some photos to show some of the projects. These were provided by, thank you, Sergeant Mendez, for providing these photos, just to show some of the before and after, some of the projects that this grant helped fund with this code enforcement activity. So this is a location. The home is in disrepair. It's obviously affecting the neighborhood. And these are the after pictures of once it was addressed by code enforcement. Again, a home with items, miscellaneous items, and this is then the home being addressed, those items being removed. This is a hazard issue that was addressed with a fence that was in disrepair, posing threat with a pool. And this was then the remediation of that issue. This was someone's tree prunings out in the street. that were neglected and affecting the neighborhood. And code enforcement was able to get in there and address that. And the second picture to the right shows that cleanup and remediation. This again is just debris out in front of a residential unit. These are the after pictures. So that's just a snapshot of some of the programs, some of the investigations that were addressed with this code enforcement grant. As I said, there was 4,000. There was lots and lots of cases. And if you need more detail, I'd be happy to provide that offline. So public participation, a public hearing notice was published in the Merced Sun-Star on July 7th. And as of today's date, no comments have been received. Staff is recommending that the City Council open the public hearing, receive public comment, and then close the public hearing and direct staff to provide a closeout report to the Housing and Community Development Department of the State of California. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you for that. So at this time, we'll open the public hearing regarding this matter. If anybody wants to come forward for comment or questions. No? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And do I have a motion? Okay. Okay. And is that a voted on item? Is that Councilmember Jones?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to accept the report as submitted.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second? Councilmember Lambert?
No, I'll second it, Mr.
All
Mayor.
right. All right. All in favor to accept the report?
Aye.
All right. We will do that. Okay. Moving on to item 8, consideration of approval of City Council Resolution Number 6672, approving the list of regional street projects to be recommended to be included in the Measure V 2023 implementation plan. And for this, we're going to go to Public Works Director, City Engineer Dan.
Good evening, Mayor, Council again. So last week we have received an update from MCAG in regards to the Measure V as well as all the programs that are being administered or implemented by MCAG. Measure V, as you all know, is a half-cent transportation sales tax that was passed back in 2016. This provide additional transportations fundings in addition to SB1s to help with our overall transportation needs within Merced County. As part of that half-cent sales tax, sorry, this thing's not turning on. There you go. Sorry about that. The clicker's not working. There we go. Sorry about that. So as part of that half-cent sales tax, we have divided that into subcategory. One of them is the regional project. The regional project itself are divided between the east side and the west side. The west side is have an estimated allocation of 17% of the entire Measure V fund itself. So for this, just a little bit of background. In 2018, soon after the Measure V was passed, as part of the expenditure plans, MCAG board as well as the regional project committee were tasked to develop a implementation plan. The first implementation plan was passed in 2018. That was for fiscal year 19, and it is meant to, the purpose of the plan is to program Measure V funding to regional projects within the county, and it serves as the primary documents that provide an analysis of the revenue as well as project expenditure over a specific period of time. This implementation plan was then updated in 2019, where the board has implemented a 12 fiscal year horizons looking at from fiscal year 19 to fiscal year 29, and many projects were brought forwards and has been selected as that. The two projects that Los Banos, Los Banos has submitted a handful of projects, but the two that were selected and after all being funded was the Pacheco Boulevard Regional Path Class 1 Trail and the Pioneer Road Widening Project. As part of the expenditure plan, the expenditure plan, I'm sorry, this implementation plan need to be updated every 2 years. So for this year, 2023, MCAG has issued a call for projects to enlist for any other regional projects that might be interested and need funding. The criteria for selecting these projects is that it has to be on a state highway system or a regional system, road system. The project must be entirely on a roadway that's classified above a minor collector. The project has to be located in or has the direct benefits to more than one jurisdictions. So as you can see on the maps on the right, the bottom right corners, that's provided you with all of those Banos different road classifications. The roads that would qualify for regional projects in Los Banos would be those in purple and in green. The red ones are the state highway system, and for us, that's Highway 165 and 152. So for this round, staff would like to propose 3 projects. All 3 of these projects are part of our transportation master plan that was adopted back in 2010, and are also listed as priority projects in the RTP list that was provided to MCAG a number of years back. The first project is the Highway 152 and I Street. As you can see on the top right corner there, the I Street has a little bit of a skew to the intersections. For many of you that have traveled on that intersection, it does not have a dedicated phasing for left turn movement. So as you drive through north and south, trying to make that left turn, you have to yield on green. In many cases, that has triggers quite a bit of hazard or safety concerns. In this case, this intersection was in the top 5 in terms of safety that we have been tracking in the last 4 years. The total cost of the project was going to be roughly $1.2 million. However, we are currently working with Caltrans in conjunction with their payment projects to be able to deliver this together. And Caltrans would be the lead agency in delivering this project, and Los Banos would be the ones that would be providing the reimbursement to them to deliver this project. The project number 2 is the Mercy Spring Roads or Highway 165 and Vineyards Drive intersections. As you can see, currently Vineyards and Dove does not make the connections into 165. Vineyard does not make the connection into 165. The only connections you have was from the east approach, that is from Dove. In our transportation master plan, Vineyards and Doves are to serve as the northern east-west connections throughout the city, and it was intent to also provide public safety access through those northern corridor also. This project is currently estimated at $4 million for an intersection control. Currently, it is estimated to be a signalized intersections. However, it's being on the state highway, we have to go through the Caltrans process to evaluate all the possible alternative that would be fitted for this intersections. The last one is the Mercy Springs and Scripps intersections. As mentioned earlier, Scripps intersection currently only have a Hawk system, which is a hybrid pedestrian beacon systems that allow for students to get across to go to either Mercy Spring Elementary School or Los Banos High. Currently, there is a lot of pedestrian traffic that go through there. There are quite a bit of vehicle volumes go through there. And seasonally, we also see semi-trucks with, tomato trucks delivery and things like that. That is impacting that intersection. So as part of our master plan, this intersection is to get a control that is either a traffic signals or a roundabout, depending on the feasibility as well as the traffic study. So with that, staff is recommending that the council adopt the resolution approving the list of these regional street projects to be recommended for inclusion in the Measure V 2023 implementation plan.
All right, thank you. Any questions from council? All right, seeing none, do I have Councilmember Lewis?
Thank you. Okay, while I can appreciate the request for upcoming funding from MCA Measure V for the new projects, it's well appreciated. Since it's listed here in the report, I'd like to know what's happening with the initial projects that we have that are listed here, 1 through 5. The Pacheco 152 Regional Bike Path, Pioneer Widening, and on and on. And especially 1 and 2, are we still working on those? Is that going to happen here in Los Banos?
So I can provide you a more definitive answer for Pioneer Road at this time, and I can provide you more update on the regional path. We just have a meeting with the county as well as the Merced College and stuff today that I can provide you a more update at a later date. Unfortunately, I don't have that in front of me. However, for the Pioneer Road, that project is moving forwards. We have the phase one of the project, which is the Ortigalita and Pioneer Road intersection that is in the work already. That is the first phase of the Pioneer Road that will go into constructions here shortly. The overall length of the project itself from the west side of 152 towards that is still being worked on in environmental phase. You probably, many of you have probably seen, there's a lot of data collections that's been happening on Pioneer itself. That is biological resources, noise, cultural resource, those survey marks that you've seen on Pioneer. Those are the funding that we received from MCAG to start that environmental process. Currently, that environment process is estimated to be completed in the fall of 2024.
Okay, now, I realize that the approval through MCAG was for a widening project. And of course, I believe it was last year, Public Works came back to us taking it down from 4 lanes to 2. So I'm really concerned as to whether or not, since that was what was approved by MCAG, as to whether or not it's still going to be able to move forward as that, because basically there's no change on that project other maybe than just some lipstick on it. Now on the regional bike path, that's a very important project because we made a commitment to our community to put that bike path in to help our students who are going from city limits, going through Highway 152 into county land that hasn't been, what's the word I'm trying to find here, modified or upgraded, so that it's a safety issue for them. Now, I realize that we have bus transportation. Some of the students probably have vehicles, but there were a lot of students who don't have vehicles. And I've seen them walking on the highway trying to get to the college out there. So I think it's really important for us to make sure that this project goes through. I see it had a 3-year span, which may mean at this time that the money has expired. I'm not sure. But this was a real important commitment to our community and to the students at the junior college. And I feel very strongly that we need to participate in this and move forward with this project. So I guess that's, I'm not hearing any other rebuttal from you on that regional bike path, but I just want to let the community know we did promise this. And the one thing that I'm seeing here is that we make commitments to do stuff and then it gets changed. We don't follow through with it. So the city of Los Banos ends up being stagnant and nothing moves forward. We don't honor things that councils of past have put in place to upgrade our community. And so it's why we still look the way that we do, because we can't finish and commit to anything. So I'm very concerned that we need to move forward and finish projects that we commit ourselves to, and that we promise to the junior college, we promise to our students, and we promise to the citizens of Los Banos. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. So I'll touch on the bike path. I didn't get elected to finish anybody's legacy projects or do anything like that. I got elected to do what I can do right now and the problems I can address. And I'll just tell you, just from my professional opinion, that the bike path, the problem, the solution that needs to be addressed with the problem is not adding more pedestrian traffic and putting college kids to walk near a highway that traffic goes 70 and 80 miles an hour. I don't see anywhere that that's going to be a viable solution. I do believe we do need to, work with the college and partner with the college, maybe on a transportation plan. But, reading the feasibility study that came out and saying we're going to add 20 feet of airspace between walking on State Route 152 and the cars that move past it doesn't make me feel any more confident that, a college student can jump out of 20 feet out of the way as the car is going 80 miles an hour past it. So that doesn't make sense. I didn't agree with the fact there's no physical barriers or lighting that was considered in this plan. And I do know that college classes tend to go after nighttime. So I wouldn't want, again, I wouldn't want any college student I know to walk in the dark on State Route 152 next to cars going 70 and 80 miles an hour. So I do think there is a problem with transportation with the college that does need to be addressed. And I think there's ways to possibly do that, but I don't think it's a short-term, something short-term that the city should take on when we have other considerations. Councilmember Lewis.
Thank you. And in regards to legacies, this is not about a legacy, it's about a commitment. And if there are considerations that the mayor and perhaps the city manager had come up with, I'm sure MCAG and would be willing to work with the city of Los Banos on that to upgrade. This plan was done back in 2018, and naturally things change between now and then. But just because one may consider it a legacy, it doesn't mean that we throw the baby out with the bathwater. We still need to make sure that we provide something legitimate for our students as far as transportation and the additional things that may have concern for the city can be addressed, and we can move forward with the project. But I just don't think that we need to step away from this for those reasons. We can work with MCAG, with the college, to make some adjustments to the plan that's out there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. There's a lot of projects that sound better on paper than reality, and one of the biggest things is maintenance of this trail. It's going to be in the county, so who's going to maintain it? The city or the county? From public safety running out there to just gardening and maintenance, and it's kind of one of those projects like our rail trail. What it was intended for and what it's being used is two different things. I have cameras on Pacheco from a commercial building, and there's not a lot of foot traffic, not the type going to college out there. So I don't think, if we're lining it up with priorities of today, that it's the most important project, even though it would be a nice one maybe in the future when we start developing out that way. But we have sidewalks in town and pathways in town that are not complete. Prime example, right across from Vineyard, we have Dove. From St. Francis to Regency, there's no sidewalk. So all those residents in there, if they want to walk into town, they can't without stepping on the highway. I think that's a lot higher priority than serving a few that go to college. So anyways, that's how I stand on this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right. So at this time, recommendations to receive staff report and adopt the resolution as submitted. I have a motion. Councilmember Jones.
Yes, Mayor. Motion to approve City Council Resolution number 6672 as submitted.
Thank you. Councilmember Lambert.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Okay, thank you. All right. Let's move into item 9, advisement of public notices. I understand we have 3 reports.
Yes, hang on for me 1 second, Mr. Mayor. All right, let's just get that back. Yes, the first item is for a site plan review. This is for 12,000 square feet on Texas Avenue. It's on Texas and H Street. This is for in medical facility, medical and dental. This is for Camarina Health. They will be the tenant occupying this building. As you may recall, they are also building another building on the northeast corner of Ward and Pacheco Boulevard. So this is really exciting to have a second medical facility being built in our community from this establishment. Second item is for Casada Recycling. This is at 705 West H Street. That's La Morenita Tortilleria. They have previously had a recycling facility at this location, which closed due to COVID, and they are restarting that business up again. And then the last item is a Type 41 alcohol license, and this is for Premier Cinemas as Trends lately, modern trends have been to serve beer and wine at most cinemas. So our local cinema is requesting for beer and wine only at 245 Mercy Springs Road. These public hearings will be held on Wednesday, July 26th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you for that. We'll go to item 10, the city manager report.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce everybody to our new rec guide. So if you folks get a chance, please head on over to the community center and take a look at this rec guide. I want to give a big thank you to Joe Heim and his team on the parks team. Thank you, Joe. Every time this, thank you to him. Every time this comes out, it just gets bigger and bigger, and it's really exciting, all the stuff that's happening at the community center over there. So if folks ever want something to do, I assure you, there's always something happening over there. And so I like to go over there often just to see all the different activities that are taking place at the community center. We're very blessed to be able to have such activities in town to be able to provide for the kids. And I know I was over there a couple weeks ago, and there were some young kids that had just graduated high school, and they were there at open gym just playing basketball during the middle of the day around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I thought that was really cool. I'm a fan of basketball, and so I went in there, shot a couple of hoops with them, and good thing they didn't ask me to play one-on-one because that wouldn't have been good for them. So I'm really happy about this rec guide. So if folks get a chance, go ahead on over and pick up a rec guide. And thank you, Joe, you and your team for all the hard work on that.
All right, thank you for that. Let's move into item 11, report update, Merced County Association of Governments, MCAG, Peninsula Clean Energy, PCE, Measure V Committee, and the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District, and Los Banos Downtown Property and Business Improvement District. And we'll start with Councilmember Lewis.
No report.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything for downtown?
No, Mayor Bill said everything, all the updates.
Just ditto. Okay. All right. I don't have anything to report on MCAG as our meeting is tomorrow. I do have something to report with Peninsula Clean Energy. There was a meeting held yesterday with them regarding the surplus of funds that they have for us that has basically become available because of the rate that they charge their customers versus the cost that they have to do business. With that surplus of funds, myself and other elected officials on the board and members of the staff had a roundtable discussion, and I really kind of made my point clear that, option one is give it back to the customers, give it back to the people that spent that money, and option two would be, give it back to the jurisdictions to do some form of amenity or something again to benefit the public, the people that paid for it. So we're in early discussions. There's no dollar figures being thrown out or what the options are, but I just kind of voiced my opinion. Our citizens, our residents, that's who spent the money, and so that's who should have the money back. So go to item 12, City Council Members Report. I'll start, Councilmember Jones.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I want to thank staff for making the tree trimming or the citywide tree trimming a priority this year. It's something that I've been kind of pushing for the last 4 years, and we've always told there was no money, no manpower, and well, now it's getting done. So I'm really happy to see that because a lot of these trees haven't been touched ever. So it's definitely necessary. I also want to thank staff for making the Vineyard and 165 intersection a priority as well, because that's been a project that's always scratched my head ever since it was done. I just don't know why it wasn't completed at the time of that development. I think those residents, those property owners in that area deserve that to go through. I think it will help out with the flow of traffic on the north end of town greatly. So I'm excited to see that as a priority and moving forward with engineering so we can make it a shovel-ready project in the near future. And then regarding the improvements at City Hall, I'm a firm believer, perception's reality. If you look half-assed, don't expect any developers to come in and be first class if our standards aren't there. So I think it's important to look great in here as a city so we can set the expectation for our future developers. So that is all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Lambert?
I think it's Ms. Lewis.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Lewis.
Yes. We've had a citizen of our community show up at 2 meetings, one tonight, asking for the report on the Small Business Assistant Program. And I don't recall, but apparently it must have been in the report back in November, December, that we would be giving an updated report. So I really don't see a reason why we're not doing that for transparency's sake to the community as well as council. So I would like to see that come up on our next agenda if at all possible. And also I want to thank two of our employees, Rachel Kufo and Brenda Gary, both 8-year employees for Los Banos. Their time, they have left the city of Los Banos. Brenda Gary retired, but she has moved on to work for the very company that is building our city police department. She was the right-hand man of our chief of police operations director, and just a wonderful employee and did a good job. And I just want to give thanks to her for all the years of service she's given to Los Banos and how she's helped us develop. Rachel Kufo came to us and was extraordinary in our fire department, in the clerical staff, and working with our firefighters and our chiefs. And she has moved on to Los Banos Unified School District. So I want to thank her for her years of service, and she was a great employee as well. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to agree with Mr. Jones on the priority down there across from Dove and the other street. That I've lived here quite a while and still wonder why they just shut it off. But I believe that is a big priority just for the citizens and the people that live in that district can actually get out a second way instead of only one way. I also want to thank Mr. Than over there. The Ag Sports Complex starting to look pretty good. It's getting a little love. It's fine. It's got some bathrooms and a concession stand out there now. I'm very much appreciative of the looks. I'm starting to see more and more activities, out there on the ball field. Might even be able to get the batting cages up and running. And so, but that's all I have left. But thank you, Mr. Than, for the sports complex. That's a big deal over for us.
All right, thank you. And I'll go last. So number one, and this is 100% my fault, and I'm going to take responsibility, is sharing communication with the public. I do have a plan with the homeless. There is a city strategic plan. Again, every plan needs to be adapted and changed. I'm sure that, again, if I could have snapped my fingers day one of being in office and come up with $30 million and could have built a Taj Mahal for the homeless that day, and believe me, I would have. With that being said, there is a plan in place, there are motion in place, and with the speed in which government works, it's designed to move slow. It's designed to move slow on purpose. And so with that being said, I would like to, and I'll coordinate with our city manager, but I would like to propose a town hall because I do believe the public needs more than just 5 minutes to discuss this with me, and I would like much more than just an agenda item to sit down and discuss it with you and share what my thoughts and what my plans are, and then hear from you as far as, what can we collaborate on, what can we do. I will tell you that, again, when I hear people, and me being somebody from 20 years in law enforcement, when I hear people tell me their frustrations, and it's not something that we can solve on this dais, that it starts at the state of California with laws and closings of prisons and closings of mental health hospitals, I'm really frustrated because I can't do anything about that. And this dais wasn't designed to do that at all. So that again, it's a frustration only because it's something that's out of my control. But I will work with our city manager to propose, I'd like to do a town hall and sit down with as many citizens as possible. And again, hear your thoughts on the homeless. And I'm going to share every bit of my plan. It's not a secret, what we want to try to accomplish, with the homeless. Item 2 is, and I agree 100% with Councilmember Lewis, I would like to see on an upcoming agenda, the concerns shared about the small business assistance program. People are asking questions about money, and that's our job to answer those questions. So I would like to see that on an upcoming agenda. As far as, and somebody mentioned about emails, I really kind of take pride in being receptive and responsive to my emails. So I need to search some emails because I have 207 responses in 4 days to my emails. So I'm sorry I missed some for the person that was here earlier. And then last, I just want to thank our city staff. I know he already left, but Sergeant Mendez. what a thankless job he has in code enforcement, right? Nobody calls you until they're mad about something. And so to see some of the work in the grant project, thank you for that. And just some of the things that were accomplished tonight, the Ag Sports Complex restrooms, the award as far as the shades in the park, and some other things that we're doing for our community as far as amenities. So thank you, staff, for that. And with that, that's pretty much all I have. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Councilmember Jones?
So moved. Aye.